Hi everyone, hello and welcome back to our YouTube live. Today's session is going to be very interesting, but it's also very knowledge enhancing. So we have to pay very close attention because we have Pyth Network with us, which is a very niche network, also focused on decentralized oracles. It's a little complicated, but Abhi is here to simplify it for us. We are so glad to have him on board today, and he's going to talk about it in detail. But before that, I would just like to say that because we are looking at a crypto spring right now, crypto summer is right around the corner, and we will see a lot of these new use cases emerge out of a lot of new products in this DeFi space. And Pyth Network is actually one among those few products which are doing this really well. They are tapping into this space. They are partnering with really exciting networks as well, and integrating their services into those. And this is actually very I would say a space that hasn't been talked about or tapped into much, but it's actually pretty interesting if you get to know about it. So that's what we are going to do today. We are going to disintegrate it slowly and talk about it bit by bit so that you understand what Pyth Network is all about. So, before we get started about the project, let's talk a little bit about your role, Abhi. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Shamna. So I work with Duro Labs. We are a core contributor to the Pyth network. I've been working on the contributing and working on the Pyth network for almost 3 years now. My background is, I think, is very common or similar to many others in the industry. I'm from Chandigarh. I studied at IIM Calcutta, and then my career took me to Dubai, where I spent 10 years in investment banking. So I had nothing to do with crypto till about 2020 when I
Okay.
wanted to make a change. And I moved, I got to know about Pyth in early 21 and I started talking to the founders and the other contributors who were working on the project and I wanted to join. So I've been with Pyth since 21 now, almost 3 years. And I lead business development for the project. My mandate earlier was to onboard institutional partners, what we call data providers, onto the network. And we did that very successfully. And I can go into detail about that, but Pyth has more than 100 data providers on the Pyth network. And all of them are, the top creme de la creme of the industry. So you have the likes of Wintermute, you have the likes of Oro, Selene, you have the likes of Binance, OKX, Bybit, and also very TradFi players like Optiver, IMC, but exchanges like CBOE, which are one of the largest US regulated exchanges for TradFi assets. All of them are part of the Pyth network. So that was my earlier mandate. Pyth was native to Solana, and in late 22 we went cross chain.
Mm-hmm.
So as Pyth went cross chain, the focus, kind of went on expanding our footprint in terms of which blockchains are we working with, which projects we are working with, so on and so forth. So in the last 15 months now, Pyth has expanded to around 60 blockchains, and more than 350 applications are using Pyth today. So all of that now, is kind of where we are today and where I am today, after 3 years at Pitt.
That's fantastic. Okay. So, okay, first of all, I just want to correct myself. It's called Pyth Network. I did mispronounce it in the beginning. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, so next up, since you talked about so many partnerships and all these milestones, let's go step by step. Let's first understand what are decentralized Oracle networks. So, what is it that Pyth does?
Yeah, so let's break it down. Firstly, what's an oracle, right? For the audience, oracle is a nice word, but what does it do actually? It brings data from the real world onto the blockchain, because blockchains themselves, they don't have the ability to talk or to communicate with other ecosystems or other environments. So oracles build that infrastructure to enable communication between a blockchain and the real world, whatever that may be. So that is what an oracle is, and that is what Pyth was designed to solve. Pyth is a decentralized oracle because the data that comes to Pyth comes from multiple sources. So it's very decentralized. For example, if Pyth provides a price of Bitcoin, that Bitcoin price is being aggregated from 50 different sources. And all
Okay.
of those are, as I said, the top quality trading firms, HFTs, market makers who provide data to Pyth and are part of the network. So that's where the decentralized Oracle comes in. But Pyth takes it one step further, right? So you have decentralization in terms of the data providers who are contributing data to Pyth, right? But you also have token led governance. So Pyth is actually a decentralized autonomous organization. It's a DAO where anybody who holds and stakes the Pyth token can participate in governance. They can vote for proposals, they can raise proposals, and they can express, like and dislike for anything as a community member should for any decentralized organization. So Pyth is not just a decentralized oracle in terms of the data, it's also decentralized in terms of its setup, whereas it's a DAO, it's not a centralized entity running the network.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you say multiple sources where data is extracted from, it's not just crypto exchanges, right? It goes beyond that, right?
Exactly. So,
Okay.
one of the, I think the first innovation, and let's take a step back. I can give you brief background about Pyth. So Pyth was the genesis of Pyth happened with a lot of trading firms and market makers feeling that they want to get active in on-chain finance, but the infrastructure they're used to in TradFi doesn't exist in crypto.
Yeah.
So instead of waiting for things to happen, they incubated Pyth and said, why don't we promote a project and help a project which is specialized for DeFi and which will bring this high quality institutional grade data, which exists, in other environments, but does not exist in blockchain. But we'll bring all of that to crypto.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where Pyth was created. The purpose of Pyth is to bring high fidelity, high quality data onto the blockchain and provide it to anybody who can use it. So the sources of the data is actually the world's leading market makers, high frequency trading firms, and exchanges, both in crypto and outside crypto. So you have, as I said, the likes of Optiver, which very big European firm. You have CBOE, you have GTS, you have Two Sigma. You have many specialists who are non-crypto participants who are part of the Pyth network and publishing their data for FX or publishing data for equities, commodities, all to the Pyth network. What Pyth does is then take all these multiple sources of data coming in and aggregates them into a single output.
Right. Got it. I think, yeah, that sort of makes sense. I think we'll get more insights as we dive deep. Okay, so there's something called as so I we understood how the network works. It's pretty clear about getting data from different sources and all of that. But what is this confidence, network confidence that you guys use, which is something that also is integrated in your smart contract, and is something that is a reliable source of data, like when you extract data and get something into the feed, it's something that people can actually trust. So how does this whole thing work?
Yeah, so confidence interval is a very unique creation of Pyth. We believe that any single input for price, there is no one single source of truth, and thus, why decentralization plays an important role. So input X says Bitcoin is at 65,000. Somebody says it's at 65,010,
Right.
and somebody says 64,900, because on different venues and different trading desks, the price even of Bitcoin can vary by a few dollars or a few, rupees up and down. And that is, it is standard in the market for every asset class, to be honest. The market price always varies a bit. So what we ask is, we ask all our data providers to provide not just a single mid price, but to provide us with this confidence interval, which is basically a measure of dispersion. And you can think of it as to how much uncertainty is there in
Yeah.
the price.
Okay.
So if the confidence interval is very small, that means that price is very, very tight, very reliable, and everybody is kind of converging on a single uh, mid price. If the confidence interval is wide, then you expect that, okay, there is a bit of uncertainty in the price, and everybody is kind of having varied views. How it helps the user, now that's the most important part, because ठीक है
Yeah.
आपने बना दिया, but it has to be something which is useful.
Yeah.
So why is it useful is because a protocol can then build it into their work stream
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, when I'm liquidating a price, what price should I liquidate the user on?
Hmm.
And
Okay.
if should I trigger a trade if the CI is too wide, should I still trade on that price or not? So it's another safety feature inbuilt into the protocol itself to tell people if this is a reliable or a tradable price or not, if this is a price which is very confident where all the publishers are converging, or there are divergent views. And then they
And
can use it in many different ways.
this is for the duration of 24 hours, or is that higher for the confidence interval?
It's live, it's real time. So it's
Oh,
actually
okay.
on Pyth, we have data refreshed every 300 milliseconds. So you have 3 price updates per second on Pyth.
Okay.
And for every update, there is a unique confidence interval. So for every 300 millisecond, you get a price and a unique confidence interval for that point in time. And it keeps refreshing every 300 milliseconds.
Right, got it. So, if you can just give us an example, say, take the example of Bitcoin's price, right? So, just an thought. We can assume right now Bitcoin is at 65K, and we get that data from three different sources. And what could be like the confidence interval for Bitcoin, given like it could say sway maybe 0.14% to 2% in 24 hours to 48 hours. Is there
This
a way to
is
calculate it? I don't know.
there is a way, and there are the whole algorithm is public. It's open
Okay.
source. It's on in our documentation, so
Okay.
anybody can go and check how the Pyth aggregation works,
Hmm.
how confidence interval and the calculation works.
Right.
However, I would say it's not the easiest to make those calculations on a call, because you probably need calculator or a computer for it. But I do encourage everybody on the call to go check out our documentation and see how the aggregation logic works.
I think we'll do that. We'll definitely do that after this call, and we'll all try out how to actually figure out this whole calculation thing. It sounds pretty interesting, by the way. But also, as interesting as it is, and it sounds very technically nuanced. So, is are there any challenges or hurdles that you faced in the initial days of developing this? For example, sourcing prices from different sites, and then again the creating the whole confidence interval algorithm, or even if there are any hurdles existing at the moment that you face sometimes, because of which there are certain things that do not run smoothly.
Yeah, good question. So in the beginning, I think we had to prove ourselves, right? So Pyth launched natively on Solana, and it was a very unique idea to bring in data directly from market makers and trading firms. This has not been done before.
Yeah.
And normally market makers, they don't like to work with each other. So it was a bit of a difficult struggle to convince them to work together for, mutual benefit. So I would say the first kind of innovation from our side was to be able to get all these different market makers and exchanges to work together and join a very unknown new project like Pyth. And we're talking 2021, right?
Right.
Um, But we were able to do that. We were able to convince very big players and medium tier and small tier. So we were able to bring in all kind of players to join the Pyth network, which now enables us to have data for 500 symbols, as I mentioned, real time, and across asset classes, FX, commodities, and crypto, right? So a lot of crypto assets as well. Secondly, what we wanted to do, the vision was that everything should happen on chain.
Hmm.
So Pyth launched natively on Solana first. And in those days, the movement was going towards faster and cheaper blockchains, and Solana was right at the forefront of it. So we launched on Solana because it was the best infrastructure for us at that point. And very quickly, we realized that we are taking up a lot of the block space of Solana. And it became very expensive as well because gas, anything, if you want to push data on chain, it costs money because it costs gas. So it became very expensive very quickly. And we had to figure out a different way. So the second innovation, what Pyth did was Pyth created a blockchain of its own called PythNet. PythNet is a Solana permissioned environment. So it's a fork of Solana, but its only purpose in life is to work for Pyth. So PythNet only has Pyth on it. But because it's not a public blockchain, it doesn't really have any gas costs. And we don't share block space with any NFT project or anything else. So in effect, we are kind of ensuring that we don't congest Solana. Also, we remove the gas cost away from it. All in all, what we got was that Pyth was able to scale much more and not incur high costs, and at the same time have better performance, even maintain, or not just maintain but improve our performance, because now we are not sharing block space with other projects. So we get a dedicated environment all to Pyth. So what we got with that PythNet was we got better performance, cheaper and more scalable infrastructure, which allowed us to kind of expand, as I said, to 60 blockchains, 500 symbols, so on and so forth. So initial teething problems, I think, was scalability
Hmm.
was a big factor. Another, I would say, a key point was that Pyth designed a very innovative model, which is called a pull model. How to use Pyth is an on-demand pull model, which wasn't known. Nobody in the world earlier had built that in the crypto space. So we designed that and we built that. Now we wanted to make sure that people use it and the people are comfortable using it, right? Because again, you can create a product, but if nobody uses it, then what's the point? So we went out looking for users, and luckily, over the last few months, we've been able to gather a lot of traction. People have loved using it. They've loved the speed of it, the scale of it, and the flexibility of it. So developers love using Play. So I think the teething troubles we had were more about a new product with a new design, and then adoption from users,
Yeah.
at the same time cost and scalability restrictions. All of that, I believe, we have been able to solve. As those problems come, we have been able to find innovative solutions and come up with new ways of doing things, which has helped Pith to grow continually.
Great. You mentioned in the beginning that it is also a DAO, and I wanted to understand, so what kind of community building initiatives does PIT have? Like, if you also encourage the community to, share certain inputs, what are the kind of incentives that you have in place? Or even if they are contributors, what is it that they contribute in terms of either data or anything useful? So just wanted to understand that, and what could say a potential participant in the pit DAO could look at if he or she wants to get into that.
Yeah. So first and foremost, again, I think that's a lot to answer. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, data providers. Those are mainly institutions, because to become a data provider, you need to own that data. You
Right.
have to have first party data. And secondly, on the network, you have consumers, right? So those are the applications, DeFi projects, ecosystems, blockchains who want to use Pyth data. So those are the two main, I would say, participants of the Pyth network. One is on the supply side, one is on the demand side. As far as community is concerned and the DAO is concerned, we always were wanted to stay true to the Web3 ethos. So we wanted to encourage participation from the wider community to design what Pyth should be and how Pyth should, the shape and form that Pyth should take in the future should come from the community.
Right.
So what we have now is a very, very active community on Discord. We have about 235,000 followers on Twitter, I believe, and also a very lively community on Telegram who have been following Pyth and have shown very, very keen interest in Pyth,
Hmm.
in understanding what Pyth is, the value we bring to blockchains, the value we bring to DeFi projects, and they want to be a part of the Pyth story. There's many reasons to it, because if you have a bag of a DeFi project or any other blockchain, you want that to do well. You want Pyth to support that, right? So they see value in both working together because they realize this is what will grow the entire crypto ecosystem together. So all of them are now very active participants. So what we did was we had public elections for two councils. One is a Pythian council and the other is a price feed council. These councils have different roles and responsibilities, but we invited individuals who can be anyone to come and throw their hat in the ring to become a council member. Once you're a council member, you get the power to vote in a multisig and
Right.
decide what Pyth will do in the future. You can make proposals, you can reject proposals, you can. So there's a lot of power which comes in terms of what you want the Pyth DAO and the Pyth protocol to do. You can decide and make decisions on it if you're part of the DAO.
And there's no strict criteria of like having a crypto background or a technical background for it.
There's no requirement. If you are an
Okay.
interested party, everybody else has to vote on you, right? So if
Of
I
course,
want to be a
yes.
council member, I will stand for election.
Right. Okay.
Another, yeah, I think one of the key things that we did, which also helped in building this community, is the airdrop that Pyth did in November of 23.
Okay.
I personally believe it was one of the best, most well executed airdrops out there. We distributed two and a half percent of the supply,
Okay.
which is 250 million tokens, to over 27 blockchains. So if you're a user on Arbitrum or on Optimism or on ZK Sync or on Scroll, you
Yeah.
all got some Pyth tokens from Pyth as part of the airdrop. This is unbelievable. There were 90,000 wallets who were eligible for an airdrop. So this
That's
helped. Yeah,
yeah.
that was a huge airdrop. 90,000 wallets, 27 blockchains, 250 million. If my maths is right, 250 million Pyth tokens, and this was right before any resurgence in the crypto market itself, because we were probably the first airdrop to be part of the cycle. So we started the cycle, so to speak. But
And
that really brought a lot of community members to bear.
how did people become eligible for the airdrop, or did they have to like share their interest in being a part of it?
It was a retrospective airdrop, so you didn't have to do anything special to be part of the Pyth airdrop. If in your previous history,
Hmm.
if you had traded on any application which used Pyth,
Okay.
then you automatically were eligible for the Pyth airdrop. So,
Perfect.
for
Okay.
example, if you traded on synthetics on Optimism, you were eligible for a Pyth airdrop.
Awesome. Cool. I think we'll have to keep an eye out for the next airdrop as well. So yeah, we'll do that, and we'll also encourage everyone present here to do the same. Since you are on Solana network, and Solana has been doing pretty well this year, and especially, I mean, in the last year, end of last year also, it started growing, and this year also it has been, I think, on a linear surging scale, I would say. So, apart from the gas fees, which is something that everyone is sort of working towards, handling and addressing, do you also see yourself benefiting from Solana's growth, like automatically, or how does it work?
Um, well, I mean, Pyth is an SPL token, and we were native to Solana, yes. But Pyth as a project is very much cross-chain.
Okay.
I mean, we were very prepared for a multi-chain, multi-layer world. Pyth today is on 60 blockchains.
Hmm.
Yes, Solana is very important for us, and we continue to be fully committed to Solana. But we also want to, be equally committed to Sui, Aptos, Near, or any of the other EVM and Cosmos chains that Pyth is on, likes of Arbitrum, Optimism, zk
Right.
Sync, so on and so forth. So we are definitely very excited about what we are seeing on Solana. We've been long-term partners,
Yeah.
long-term supporters of
Yeah.
Solana. The team itself is very bullish on Solana. And we've seen how the TVL has grown multiples in the last 3 to 4 months. Activity is crazy. The whole meme coin mania, started on Solana and is still ongoing.
Do you
And
own any? If that's
of
okay
course,
to
yes.
speak freely. Okay.
Why not? No,
Okay.
of course I have a few.
We have
I have some I don't want to
yeah.
disclose.
No, that's okay. But WazirX has a lot of loyal meme coin enthusiasts, and they are very keen on meme coin trading. We do see some of the highest meme coin tradings on our platform. It's actually a pretty fun way to engage with crypto, I think, and also offers like an insight into how crypto trading or crypto ecosystem as a whole functions. So
Right, I agree.
meme coins are pretty harmless that way, and good if you're using it the right way and there's no manipulation as such. So good to know that you
Yeah,
are owning some as well. And Solana based meme coins are also doing well. For everyone who's listening, I know this is something that people would definitely be interested in. So yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, and just if I can say, Pith also has a lot of meme coin price feeds.
All right.
We try to launch as many as possible.
Oh, awesome. That's great. We'll definitely check out a few. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I think this brings us mostly. I think we have got answers to a lot of our questions, but what we want to understand is in the last 1 year, we did see the DeFi landscape grow a bit as compared to 2022, but not as much as it will be growing in 2024 because of obvious reasons. The bull market is coming. There would be more capital flowing in terms of funding. So there will be a lot of new projects coming in, new solutions and everything, right? So since a lot of development is expected in the DeFi ecosystem and a lot of new solutions are going to be coming in, how do you plan on continuing your integration process that you have done in the last 2 3 years, and how do you plan to be at the top of the evolving ecosystem so that you don't miss out on any of the trends? Not that every trend has to be kept up with, but it's just, I think, at some level helps if you are on top of what's happening in the DeFi ecosystem.
Now, 100%. Very good question. This is something we are definitely also keeping an eye out. All the contributors in our Discord and our Telegram, as I mentioned, we keep sharing, feedback and inputs with each other. We keep highlighting recent news. The Discord is actually great. It's a very, very lively place for discussion, and everybody seems quite educated. So I think we get our feedback from the community,
Mm-hmm.
which guides us to say, okay, this is the new thing. These are very popular. This is what is coming. I also use DeFi Llama a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of a very popular public resource to see where the trends are going. And of course, Pyth needs to be at the forefront of it. What's happening now, luckily, is that we also get a lot of people who come to us and ask for Pyth services. And I think what happens in that case is people who come looking for the Pyth protocol
Hmm.
or automatically inform you of what the trend is, what is the new hot thing, who is trying to launch a new project, who's trying to launch a new DeFi project or or a new blockchain, because they have to have conversations with key infrastructure like Pyth. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. Very important to stay, in touch with everything. Follow the news, see what community members think, and also follow like tools like DeFi Llama and other projects, other such portals. I do think we are very integral now to the next phase of DeFi growth.
Right.
The movement has been primarily towards faster and cheaper blockchains. That's why
Hmm.
you have L2s and now L3s, and
Yeah.
maybe someday L4s, L5s as well. I don't know what is coming. But everybody wants a fast and cheap experience. And Pyth is designed to be fast and cheap along
Right.
with these protocols.
Right.
So, and in any case, we're extremely reliable and scalable as a protocol. So anybody who wants, who's trying to build a fast and cost-effective ecosystem or a project needs to work with Pyth, because they are the only two things which are aligned together, and which work at the same kind of performance standards that you want.
Okay. Any developers in the audience who are looking at building their own Web3 projects, make sure you consider Pit and see what they have to offer. I did go through your website. I think everything is pretty self-explanatory, but if anything, you can also shoot us some questions and we can direct them to the Pit team, and obviously you can write to them directly. Pyth is also listed on WazirX, so you should definitely own some of the tokens. You can hear Abhi how bullish he is about the ecosystem and all of that. This is not an investment advice, but it's just that none of these are investment advices, but it's just that the blockchain is gonna grow and all of that. So make sure you keep an eye out on that, and also the airdrop. So I think that brings us to the end of our session mostly. Anything else that you want to add, Abhi, from your end as a closing comment, for the audience?
Yeah, I think like one of the things I'd like to highlight before we go is Pyth is known for being specialized for DeFi,
Hmm.
but Pyth has recently launched a new product called Entropy. Entropy is a on-chain random number generator. So be it NFT loot boxes, NFT mints, be it gaming projects, online prediction markets, they all will be using Pyth for on-chain randomness as well. So the very exciting terms, because apart from DeFi, Pyth will now also be moving towards enabling more GameFi online, which is very exciting in my opinion.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, we'll definitely look forward to seeing that. Yes, and do follow the Pit ecosystem guys on Twitter. They would be putting out all the developments, I'm sure, from time to time. So, and they also have a pretty vibrant Discord community, as he mentioned. So, if you want to know what the DeFi trends are, apart from public resources, maybe you can try and see what the team is up to, the community is contributing. And yeah, that brings us to the end of our session. Thanks so much for joining and sharing about Bit. It's a very interesting project, and like I said, quite one of a kind, especially at this juncture when we are moving into a very evolved DeFi ecosystem in the coming months. We are very glad to have you on WazirX. Yeah, and that's it. Thank you so much. And yeah, see you all in the next session. Thanks, Abhi.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.